What's up, everybody? We are here for Beyond the Game, episode number 11, and we are still at the Fanatics Fest. This is day number 2. My name's Eric Michael. I've sold over $5 million in sports cards. I've taught how to do this to thousands of people by now, and it's just pretty wild here, just how big sports cards is getting. And I have a few things to talk about that I wanted to talk to all you guys about, some things that's going on in my life, and then things I'm looking to do in sports cards, some deals I made, etc. I'll start off with this. So this has come to my attention through a few of my coaches throughout the past few months that it's really come to me now, and that's Pokemon. So to be completely honest with you, I've always thought I've always thought of it like a joke. Then it kind of came on during the pandemic, and I was like, these new Pokemon cards will never sustain value. They actually do. So what's interesting about Pokemon is this. So you could have a sports card, right? So the way sports cards works is like this. Let me take an example here. Let's take this card of Mr. Amon Thompson, the player for the Rockets, right? So his good card, he was drafted in 2023, and his good cards come out in early 2024, like January, February, March. And a card like this I bought at the show for, I think it was $800. However, this card back when it first came out was worth like $1,400-$1,500. And the way sports cards works is when these new products get released, they start high, they come crashing down, then they start to flatline, and then they start to creep up as the season gets closer. So I bought this card for $800. One, it was a solid deal. This card's worth $950, $1,000 now. And then number 2, I anticipated going up in value, so hopefully I'll sell it for $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. However, what came to my attention is Pokemon does not do that. Not all, but most of these cards that come out in these booster packs. So these booster packs, what that means is, to my knowledge, this is what I've been told. So there's these new booster packs that come out every few months, and they actually just retain value. That's it. So they don't come crashing down after a product releases. With sport cards, very different because a lot of these guys are very hyped. There's a lot of momentum and demand behind them, especially a lot of these newbies who get into the hobby really drive their prices up in the beginning, and that's why they come crashing down. Then they start to level out, and as you get closer to the season, it goes up in value. And what's interesting about this Pokemon stuff is there's sport. I'm all about predictability, right? Predictability in business is that's what you want, right? You want to make a consistent, easy $2, $3, $4 a month when it comes to sports cards, at least, right? You don't want these volatile swings of 1 month's good, 1 month's bad, 1 month's good, one month's bad. I lived that life for a long time. It's not fun. With Pokemon, it seems like there's tons of these cards available. A lot of these cards sell for $100, $200. They're easy to tell and look at to get graded. And a lot of times you're over doubling your money if this card grades a 10, and they sell like hotcakes. I see it here. There's a lot of Pokemon dealers here, and I don't buy Pokemon. I don't know much about it still, but they sell like hotcakes, these new Pokemon cards. I've always said for the longest time, people have asked me, they'll ask me something along the lines of why don't you do Pokemon? Why do you only do sports cards? And what I would say to people is the reason why sports cards are more valid and it's easier to make money is because every single year you have new original cards coming out. However, then that's what sports cards, because Amon Thompson was a rookie in 2023. This is his original set. This is his original rookie card. And Pokemon, I just kind of always thought of it you had the original set from 1999, and after that, it's just no one really wanted the cards, and this Pokemon stuff has really started to come on. So I'm going to start looking heavy into that, hopefully do it myself, make money, be successful at it, and then start teaching it and, putting in my content and showing it to you guys as well. I think it's a very valid way to make money. Sorry, that was one of my students walking by. He just joined the program a few weeks ago. So that's the Pokemon stuff. Some other stuff with sports cards is, so I sold $55,000 in cards. That was pretty cool. And I'm into all the cards for about $45,000. They were about $62,000 in cards total. The guy gave me 90% for them. And that's kind of something I always preach in sports cards. Students ask me, how do you sell cards? What's the best way to do it? There is no one best platform, right? Facebook, eBay, Instagram. It's just a personal preference. It's about buying the right cards, being fair with your pricing. So many people, especially nowadays with a repack. So what repacks are, this is going to make sense in a second. What a repack is someone buys a bunch of cards like this, buys a bunch of them, some for low, some for high, and they put them into their own product and they resell them. So you know how you have Bowman Chrome, you have Prism, and they sell these packs, Panini and Topps and Fanatics releases these packs. Well, with people will do that with cards, and they'll make up the name of their own pack, like Eric Michael Packs of Cards. It's a bad name, but I'm just making something up here. But these repackers, because they could overprice their cards, because they package these cards together and you don't really know what you're getting. So a lot of the time these repackers are charging you 120, 130% for these cards. They're willing to buy these cards at 90%. So I have like a student next to me who's set up with me at my booth, and myself, we've been selling a lot of these cards to repackers at 90%, which is great, because like this card of Eamon Thompson, for example, like I'm just using it because it's next to me, but like I bought for $800, right? It's worth like $950 right now. And hopefully this card goes up to $1,200, $1,300. I'll sell it for 90%. I'll sell it at $1,100, and great. And just to show you one more example of another card next to me. So like this card of Will Levis. You gotta actually see what I paid for this card on eBay. I paid $4,500 for this card. The card was already graded, and so I bought it in, I forget, it was like February, March, maybe April, and I bought it because no one was on Will Levis. His stuff was very cheap. I saw the Titans, they could pick up some guys, gain a lot of hype, gain a lot of momentum, and lo and behold, I was looking at another card of Will Levis to grade at the show, and the guy was asking $4,000 for it, and I was like, why is he asking so much money? Like, I know this card's went up in value, but I didn't think that much. And he's like, oh, a PSA 10 just did $7,000. I was like, really? And then I looked on my phone, and lo and behold, one just did $7,000. So like, I'll sell this card to someone for 90% pretty easily. I'll get 60, whatever that is, 6,300, 6,400. I made 50% on my money. Fantastic. This card just sat on my desk for months, and that's it, right? So selling to repackers it seems like it's becoming a very big thing, because selling it, especially if you know what you're doing, selling at 90%, you can make money a lot of the time. So that was cool. Sold like $55,000 in cards. Some other stuff with sports cards. Then I'll end it with a conversation I was having with a friend. Not really that sports card related. So I bought a Michael Jordan card here. I bought two PSA 4s for like $2,700 each. I sold one of them for $3,000 like right away the next day. So that's always cool at sports card shows, when you can just buy something from one booth and just walk over and make money on it and flip it quickly. The most I ever flipped a sports card for at a sports card show, like I bought it at the show and sold it at the show. I remember it was, oh boy, I forget the year. It was Chicago National Card Show, maybe 21 or 20 or 22. I bought a Black Label 2011 update, Mike Trout, for $4,000. I literally, within 5 minutes of walking to the show, and I literally walked like 5 minutes later to someone else, and I still had the card in my pocket. And I was like, I thought he would have interest in it, because he had a bunch of Mike Trout cards, and he's like, I'll give you $6,000 for it right now. I was like, and I was playing that game like, oh man, I don't know, you know, like that game, that poker face people put on if you ever play poker, like, I don't know, you know what? I'm probably gonna regret it, but fuck it, I'll do it. Because if you just say yes right away, right, people are like, oh, why did he say yes right away? The card must be worth less. That's always cool. I sold a few cards at the show. A Wembanyama that Jordan I bought at the show, just sold it, and then just sold it at the show as well. I made like $400 or $500 on them together. That's cool. And so I have a student sitting next to me. His name is Adam, Adam Gold. And funny story about how we met. So he joined Major League Profits. He was probably one of the first 10 or 20 students to ever join. And the way I met him, funny enough, was actually in Atlantic City. It was like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. and I was drunk at a poker table. And I don't even know what the hell I was saying. I can't even remember. But I guess I got him interested in the idea of making money with sports cards, and he joined the program. And today I'm going to do an interview with him. No joke. He's like, sports cards turned his whole life around. Not only does he flip sports cards and make money, but he's a CPA, he's an accountant. A lot of his accounting firm he has met clients, and a lot of his clients buy and sell sports cards. So sports cards has revolutionized and changed his whole life. It's kind of similar to me in the sense where like sports cards is a great way to make a solid income, like 4, 5, 6, even like 10 grand a month. But it's hard to get to that next level. Sports cards like a easy, safe, predictable way to make money if you know what you're doing. But like kind of similar to me, I took sports cards, did it for 5 years, got good at it, and I took it to a whole new level with like starting a coaching program that now is like 30 employees and yada yada yada. He did kind of the same thing. Took his knowledge from sports cards, created an accounting firm out of it because he's a CPA, and changed his whole entire life. So it's always nice to see that. That's kind of like the way to take sports cards to the next level. You kind of have to like uniquely branch off of it, whether you start a repack product, because like flipping sports cards, like flipping this stuff, it's really a $4,000 to $5,000 a month profit type of thing if you do it right. And then funny enough, I sold an Anthony Edwards and Jason Dominguez. That I bought the Jason Dominguez at this show for $1,000. I was into it, and then an Anthony Edwards I was into it for about $1,000 as well. I sold it to Adam next to me. He gave me I don't want him to say it out loud. He gave me $3,600 for it, and I'm into them for like around $2,000. don't tell him that. Hopefully he doesn't watch this. But he got a good deal on it. He'll flip it and make money as well. So that's a lot of the card stuff. And the last thing I'll leave this off at, completely separate from sports cards, because you guys know I like to talk about like mindset and growth and development and all that stuff. I think I found the secret to happiness, right? People say happiness or money doesn't buy happiness, right? It doesn't. And I met this girl the other day, and she's like very like business oriented. Like she's like a sales rep or something for an insurance company. She has her own insurance agency, something like that. And she makes really good money. She told me, she was like, I was making at my peak, I was making $250,000 a year, which is a lot of money. And she's my age, she's 26. Well, I'm 27 now. But she's like, and I met her on Hinge, right? You guys know the dating app. And I still remember in her Hinge profile, it said something along the lines of like, this year, my goal is to strengthen my personal relationships and focus on business less. Something like that. And then I asked her about it in person when I met her. It actually took like 3 months for us to meet. But when I asked her about it, she was like, yeah, like I was making all this money and like I lived in Dallas in this amazing high rise in this beautiful apartment. And I was in my bath drinking a super expensive bottle of wine. And you say that stuff, and on the surface, you're like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. But let me tell you, that stuff is not amazing if you don't have the proper relationships in your life. Having the proper relationships is like the foundation of life. Okay, so like you can't be happy whether you make $50,000 a year or $50 million a year unless you have the right relationships, like boat, cars, and apartments, and wine, and alcohol, and all expensive stuff. All that stuff, I'm telling you, it just means absolutely nothing if you're lonely and miserable. Take my word for it. And however, the reason why I think money doesn't buy happiness, but money amplifies happiness is because of this. So I'm living proof of it. So I'm very fortunate where I have great friends back at home. I've lived with my business partner for years, and we're best of friends. And now one of my best friends is one of our employees. And I'm lucky in the sense where like my relationships in my life are very good, like very good. Whenever I want plans, I always have them. Like I don't take that stuff for granted. Like I know there's a lot of people in this world that just are lonely on the weekend, don't have plans, and they just kind of sit at home alone and watch Netflix and, wish they were doing something more active and socializing. So I'll never take that stuff for granted. Just like I always tell people, like, you focus so much on money. I want to make more money, more money, more money. And it's great, right? Money amplifies happiness, right? It's something I agree to the fullest extent. But like at the end of the day, you have to sit back and say to yourself, I have friends, I have family, I have 2 legs, 2 feet. I can feel a pain. I can speak. There's so many people in this world that can't do that stuff, right? You should never take that stuff for granted, because you'll always want more. Right? It's just human nature. Humans are greedy. They always want more. But I could speak like from the perspective that money amplifies happiness because, I have the right relationships in my life. And because now I do have money and like I have the nice apartment and the nice car and I'm able to travel and all that bullshit, it makes you happier, right? Like because I have the right relationships in my life, I could tell you like taking your family on vacation, which is something that costs a lot of money, that is happiness, right? I don't have a girlfriend, but taking your girlfriend to Hawaii, right? That is something that is expensive and requires money. But because you have the right relationships in your life, it amplifies your happiness. So I think I found the key to life and the key to happiness and the key to success. Because like it just boils down to that. Like all anyone wants to do is be happier. Like you want to make more money because you think it makes you happier. You want to be in better shape and healthier because it makes you feel better and it makes you happier, right? Happiness is just like, that's just the goal of life. And it's the underlying thing, whether your passion or purpose is fitness or money or business, whatever, you need those right relationships. And then after that, whatever you do just amplifies that. So like to make more money or go to the gym more or whatever. So, and I explained that to her as well. Cause like this girl who I was hanging out with just so like focused on money. And she's like, damn, like I could travel all the time and do all these things, but like, I don't have any authentic friends. And she said, her best friends are people in the workplace, but like, are those, sometimes they can be real authentic friends, but like, are they using you for money because they want a promotion? Especially if you're someone's boss, you have to be careful of that stuff. Like, I love my employees for sure, but it's, it's different than like having like a hometown authentic friend where money is not involved in any type of way, right? It just is. So that's what I'll leave it off at. If you guys ever have any questions, let me know. Hopefully you enjoy these talks and these podcasts. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.